Have you ever just stopped to wonder about, well, the very nature of our reality? Not just, what's around us, but how much we as humans actually influence it.
It's a huge question.
It really is. And today, we're diving into some truly mind-bending concepts, stuff that might challenge, well, everything you thought you knew about your place in the universe.
We're looking at the Science of Inceptology version 12.0, this
Yeah.
really fascinating document by Terry.Artlines, dated today, August 12th, 2025.
Right. And it's pretty foundational for understanding how human consciousness interacts with reality,
Right.
and maybe even shapes it, powerfully shapes it.
Absolutely.
So let's start there. This core idea. What is inceptology? Tariq says inception starts with an idea. Simple enough.
Mm-hmm.
And inceptology itself, the concept, is apparently as old as humanity. At its heart, it's about humans trying to influence other humans, often, for domination.
Right. That part isn't exactly new, historically speaking, but the method of domination, that's definitely changed over time.
Totally. Think about it.
Hmm.
Ancient times, it was all military muscle,
Mm-hmm.
right? Swords and shields.
Yeah. Then it shifted, became more about industrial power, factories, economies.
And then, late 20th century, boom, technological control, information networks.
But here's where Tariq's work really hits home for now, for our time.
Go on.
The source points out, and I'm quoting here because it's powerful, in our age and time, it has become psychological and mental control and domination,
Wow.
where the stronger mind will win the war of human vs. human and human vs. universe. It's a shift from, physical force to mental strength being the deciding factor.
That is a profound statement, isn't
I
it?
think-
Psychological and mental control winning the war.
It is. And he explained that inceptology isn't just some abstract philosophy. It's a methodology. It's grounded in things like sacred geometry and parapsychology.
Okay, let's unpack those a bit because they might sound out there to some.
Yeah.
Sacred geometry.
Basically, it's looking at the mathematical patterns and proportions you find everywhere in nature, in art, and suggesting they hold deeper meaning, maybe even energetic power. Universal blueprints, sort of.
Okay, makes sense. And parapsychology.
That delves into mental stuff that science maybe doesn't fully explain yet. Things like intuition, ESP, collective consciousness, phenomena beyond the conventional five senses.
Gotcha. So inceptology blends these structured patterns with the more mysterious sides of the mind.
Exactly. Its goal is to help us understand inception, how our whole system, mind, body, soul, processes physical reality, how we structure that reality in our thoughts.
How external forces can influence that structure, for good or bad.
Precisely. Building that understanding.
But what's really thought-provoking, I find, is this paradox Tariq brings up.
Yeah, that caught my eye too.
He suggests that as we gain knowledge, as we build up our physical world, what he calls matter, we're somehow simultaneously disconnecting.
Disconnecting from what, though?
From love, from purity. It's like we're accidentally destroying beauty and the infinite energy of love, which he implies are, the roots connecting us to our souls.
So building with one hand.
And maybe, unconsciously, dismantling something essential with the other.
It's a powerful critique of progress, isn't it?
It really is. And inceptology, according to Tariq, offers a way forward. A pretty bold solution.
Which is?
The need to build parallel realities, not just in the physical world, but in the metaphysical too.
Parallel realities.
Okay.
And the ultimate aim.
The source puts it pretty ambitiously, to create a cosmic consciousness for heaven on earth.
Wow. Okay, that's a big vision.
Huge. And this idea, building parallel realities, cosmic consciousness, it leads us straight into the next major concept in Terry.Artlines' work, cosmology.
Right. He defines cosmology as the story of the birth and life of infinite worlds, and also the science and philosophy of cosmic reality.
It's like hitting rewind, isn't it? Going back to the absolute beginning of the story to tackle those fundamental questions we all wrestle with sometimes.
The big ones. Why are we here? Why this reality? Does it all mean anything?
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack this whole philosophical framework, this cosmology journey Tariq lays out.
And see how it challenges our understanding of reality, civilization, maybe even our own power within it all.
Okay, let's dive in. Let's unpack this cosmology piece.
Aye.
So we set the stage with inceptology. Now we can really dig into Tariq's critique of modern civilization and how our current worldview, maybe, is holding us back.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back. He argues we tend to measure how civilized we are by, material stuff.
Like technology, the economy, big infrastructure projects, how well we manipulate resources.
Right. Impressive stuff, sure. But he says it's not enough. It's insufficient.
Why insufficient?
Well, his key insight is that just because we're materially sophisticated, it doesn't automatically mean we're balanced morally or spiritually or ecologically.
Ah, okay, so the outer progress doesn't guarantee inner balance.
Exactly. And he suggests this imbalance, this disconnect from what he calls deeper truths, is often what leads civilizations to collapse from the inside out, like internal corruption.
That makes sense. And he points a finger at our scientific framework too, doesn't he?
He does. He says science is great at describing how the physical universe works, the mechanics of it all, but it's largely silent on why it exists and what role human beings play. That's a direct quote.
And the risks there, according to him.
The risk is that civilization becomes like this elaborate building with no foundation. All structure, no ground beneath it.
That's a pretty strong claim, isn't it?
Yeah.
That all our progress might be built on shaky ground if we ignore the why.
It really makes you pause and think. But what's fascinating is how he uses history to back this up.
Oh, yeah? How so?
He points out that throughout history, the moments of profound renewal, those big leaps forward for humanity, they often happen when we fundamentally re-examine our place in the cosmos.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about the Renaissance. You had this amazing merging of classical wisdom with the new scientific discoveries.
Right. Art, science, philosophy all buzzing together.
Or the Islamic Golden Age. They integrated ancient cosmologies with theology, and that led to incredible advancements in math, astronomy, medicine, things that shaped the entire world.
Okay, I see the pattern. Even the Enlightenment. Challenging old dogmas with reason.
Exactly. These weren't just scientific shifts or just cultural shifts. That's his point.
They were. What? Cosmological shifts.
Precisely. His big takeaway is each of these eras was not merely a scientific or cultural shift, but also a cosmological one, a redefinition of how humans understood the universe and their role within it.
Yeah.
And then he drops this line, when cosmology changes, civilization changes.
That's powerful. So progress isn't just tech or money. It's fundamentally tied to how we see ourselves in the grand scheme of things.
That's the argument. It underpins everything else.
So bring it to today.
What's the implication?
Tariq is basically asking, can we find a new cosmological foundation? One that could guide us towards a future that's more harmonious, more sustainable.
One that integrates science and spiritual wisdom and different cultural perspectives.
Yeah, it's a call for a really holistic reevaluation, a big rethink.
Okay, so if cosmology is that fundamental, we need to be clear on what he means by it, because it sounds like it's more than just astronomy class. Oh, definitely. It goes way beyond just the scientific study of the universe's origin and structure.
So in science, it's models, observations, the Big Bang, that kind of thing.
Right, mathematical models, empirical data. But philosophically, he sees it as our deep human search for meaning within that vastness.
And spiritually.
Spiritually, it's about the connection, the relationship between the individual soul or consciousness and the cosmos itself.
And he has this quote, every culture's cosmology is, in essence, its ultimate map of reality. It's huge.
It is. He says it determines not just how people see the stars, but how they see themselves, their societies, the whole moral order of the world. It's the underlying map.
So how does this play out in different cultures? He gives examples, right?
Yeah, quite a few. Like the Abrahamic traditions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, they generally see a singular creator, a universe with a moral purpose. Our actions matter on a cosmic scale.
Okay. And contrasted with, say, Hindu cosmology.
Hindu cosmology often envisions these vast eternal cycles of creation and destruction, infinite kalpas, these immense cosmic ages. Time isn't linear in the same way.
In Taoism.
Taoism describes this beautiful, natural unfolding of the Tao, the way into the complementary forces of yin and yang, structuring reality.
So what's the common thread he sees?
He stresses that these aren't just origin stories. They set the stage for human duty, ethics, and destiny. They embed our social rules, our values, right into the fabric of the cosmos.
Makes sense. Then you have the scientific view. The Big Bang, 13.8 billion years ago. Yeah. Potential futures like heat death or the Big Crunch.
Right, or maybe even a big bounce, a cyclical model.
And even though science tries to be value neutral,
it still shapes us profoundly. He argues it fosters humility, seeing our small place, curiosity about the universe, a sense of fragility even, and that impacts things like environmental ethics, how we plan for the future.
Okay, but he doesn't stop at science and major religions. He brings in mythology and esoteric traditions too.
Yeah, things like the Norse Yggdrasil, the world tree connecting the 9 realms, or Greek myths going from chaos to Gaia and Uranus.
even Kabbalah's tree of life, or the stages of spiritual ascent in Sufism.
And the fascinating point he draws from these is that they often suggest human consciousness itself is a cosmic phenomenon.
Meaning we're not just observers, but integral parts of the cosmic process.
That seems to be the implication. We're woven into it.
Which brings us back to his central claim. Cosmology is not only a theory about the universe, it is the hidden blueprint of civilization.
Right. Think about the difference. A society sees the cosmos as just a random mechanical accident.
Versus one that sees it as sacred, alive, maybe purposeful.
Their priorities, their values, their actions, they're going to be completely different, aren't they? Based on that underlying cosmic view.
Absolutely. So the bottom line is...
The bottom line, as Tariq puts it starkly, if cosmology changes, everything changes.
Okay, well, so this huge cosmic blueprint, it doesn't just stay out there in the stars. Terry argues it comes right down to your personal experience. How you perceive reality, actually.
What?
Shapes it, determines it.
Shapes it, yeah, or maybe even co-creates it. He brings in some philosophical heavy hitters here, like George Berkeley.
Ah, the to be is to be perceived guy. Esse est percipi.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And Immanuel Kant, with his distinction between phenomena and noumena.
Okay, break Kant down simply for us. Phenomena versus noumena.
Sure. Think of phenomena as the world as you experience it through your senses and mind the colors, sounds, feelings, thoughts. It's your reality show.
Got it.
Noumena, on the other hand, is the thing in itself, the reality that exists independently of your perception, the objective truth behind the curtain. Kant argued we can never directly access this noumena because our minds actively filter and structure everything we experience.
So our minds aren't just passive cameras recording reality.
Not according to Kant or Tariq here. Our minds are more like active projectors, shaping what appears on the screen. And this connects really well with Eastern ideas like Maya in Hinduism and Buddhism, the idea that the reality we typically perceive is a kind of illusion, obscuring a deeper truth.
So the big takeaway for you listening,
is that reality isn't some fixed objective thing happening to you. It's more like a dynamic dance between you, the observer, and the world being observed. Your perceptions, your beliefs, your mental frameworks, they're actively shaping the world you experience moment to moment.
Okay, so there's a difference between observed reality, the external measurable stuff science looks at.
Right, the objective world.
And experience reality, which is totally subjective, colored by your personal history, your emotions, your unconscious mind, everything that makes you you.
Exactly. And why does this matter? Because science, powerful as it is, mainly deals with that observed reality. It struggles to capture the full richness of experienced reality.
Things like meaning, purpose, love, spirituality.
Precisely. Those live in the realm of experienced reality. That's where consciousness, maybe even free will, operates. It's where your unique human story unfolds.
And this isn't just individual. He says whole cultures construct different realities through shared beliefs. Right?
Absolutely. Think about, say, many indigenous cosmologies that see nature as alive, full of spirit, relatives even.
Compared to maybe a more Western materialist view, that might see nature primarily as resources to be used, inert matter.
The way those two cultures experience and interact with the world will be fundamentally different, and Tariq suggests that much of the conflict stems from incompatible underlying cosmologies. People aren't just arguing about facts, they're operating from different fundamental realities.
Okay, so if perception shapes reality, does that mean we can change reality by changing our perception? Can reality be consciously reconstructed?
According to Tariq, absolutely. And that has huge implications.
Like what?
Well, on a personal psychological level, it means you potentially have the power to reshape your inner world. Heal trauma, expand your awareness, change your patterns.
And beyond the individual.
On a metaphysical level, it suggests that collective realities, even entire civilizations, can evolve by consciously adopting new ways of seeing the universe, new cosmological frameworks.
He doesn't see this as just some interesting thought experiment, does he?
Not at all. He calls it an urgent task. Rebuilding civilization requires us to embrace reality, not as some static external thing, but as a living, co-created phenomenon, something we actively participate in.
Wow. Okay. That leads us into a really fascinating section of Tariq's work, where he outlines 5 different cosmological models, like 5 different lenses for viewing existence.
Yeah, this part is dense but really rich. He lays out these distinct frameworks. Each one offers a completely different take on reality. What stands out to you as we go through them?
Okay, let's try. First up, the observable universe. This feels like the most familiar one, maybe.
Probably. It's the physical cosmos we can study with science. Telescopes, particle accelerators, all the galaxies, dark matter, gravitational waves we can measure.
But he points out his limitations, right?
Definitely. It's limited by the speed of light we can only see so far back in time. And our instruments only capture a tiny fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum, let alone other potential realities. He says science can describe only a fraction of the totality of existence.
Philosophically, this aligns with materialism, the idea that matter and physical laws are the only fundamental reality.
Right, but Tariq critiques it, saying it offers an incomplete account of consciousness, meaning, and the origins of the cosmos itself. It tells us the what and how, but not the why.
Okay, Model 2, the divine universe. This sounds more traditional, maybe.
It often is. This framework sees the cosmos as a deliberate creation, stemming from divine intention or will. Think of the Genesis creation story or the Hindu cycles, yugas, initiated by divinity.
And the key concept here is
Teleology.
purpose.
The idea that creation isn't random but is directed towards some goal or end. The universe becomes a kind of moral theater, where our actions have cosmic significance, maybe through concepts like karma.
So this model provides a sense of meaning, comfort, ethical guidance.
Exactly. It offers answers to those deep existential questions within a divine plan.
All right, third, the spiritual energy universe. This one feels different again. Less about a creator god, more about energy.
Precisely. It emphasizes consciousness and subtle energies as being fundamental to reality. The universe isn't just matter, it's a dynamic field of life force or cosmic energy that interconnects all beings.
This is where things like Reiki, Qigong, pranic healing might fit in, working with chakras, meridians, biofields.
That's the idea. These practices operate on the principle that there's an underlying energetic reality we can interact with for healing and balance.
And he connects this to quantum physics.
He does. He points to concepts like quantum entanglement, non-locality, the observer effect, things that hint perhaps that consciousness may influence physical reality. It reframes the universe not as a machine, but as a living organism, something participatory.
Okay, interesting. Fourth model, the eternal design universe. No beginning, no end.
That's the core idea, a cosmos that unfolds cyclically, or perhaps continuously, without a specific creation moment or ultimate destruction. Think of the ancient Stoic idea of ekpyrosis, the universe periodically going through fiery destruction and rebirth.
Or the Hindu kalpas again, those immense cycles.
Exactly. And often in this model, if there's a divine principle, it's more like a silent god, an architect who sets the design, the laws in motion, but then steps back, allowing the universe to self-organize.
Less intervention, more observation.
Right. The focus here is often on natural processes like competition, adaptation, evolution, cosmic natural selection, if you will, playing out within this eternal living system constantly in flux.
Okay, one more. Number 5, the mythic multiverse. This sounds imaginative.
It really taps into the power of story and symbol. This model sees the universe, or our experience of it, situated within a vast web of myths, archetypes, and symbolic dimensions. Human imagination doesn't just reflect reality, it shapes our perception of it.
So, thinking of Carl Jung's archetypes, those universal patterns in the collective unconscious, or Joseph Campbell's hero's journey monomyth.
Exactly. Those are key reference points. And he argues that even today, things like epic science fiction Star Wars, Dune, the Marvel Universe function as modern myth-making, shaping our collective consciousness.
And the multiverse part.
Intriguingly, this model also embraces the idea of multiple coexisting realities or dimensions, which resonates, strangely enough, with theoretical physics concepts like the multiverse hypothesis. It's where deep psyche meets deep physics in a way.
Wow. Okay, 5 very different ways of seeing everything. So what do we do with all these models? Just pick one.
Well, this leads to what Tariq calls the collective cosmology principle. It's not about picking one winner.
No.
No, it's about acknowledging the value in diverse, even seemingly contradictory frameworks. The goal is to try and integrate them into a larger, more coherent whole.
So not mushing them all together, but finding a way for them to coexist and inform each other.
Exactly. He calls it creating a broader framework where different perspectives can dialogue and enrich one another, like different instruments in an orchestra creating a richer sound together.
How does that work practically? If science says X and religion says Y.
He talks about needing a philosophical bridge, a way to understand that different frameworks might be asking different questions or addressing different levels of reality.
So a scientific explanation for evolution doesn't necessarily negate a religious narrative about divine purpose.
Hmm.
They could be seen as operating on different levels.
That's the idea. It allows for pluralism without relativism. You can accept multiple valid perspectives without saying anything goes.
Are there parallels to this kind of thinking elsewhere?
He points to things like Hegelian dialectics thesis, antithesis, synthesis, this dynamic process of evolving understanding, and also Ken Wilber's integral theory, which tries to create frameworks that include insights from many different fields and levels of consciousness.
So the big application here is,
It's huge for things like cultural understanding and interfaith dialogue. If you can recognize the legitimacy of different underlying cosmologies, different maps of reality, it fosters empathy and mutual recognition. It helps get to the root of conflicts rather than just arguing on the surface.
that makes a lot of sense. Finding common ground by understanding the different starting points.
Precisely.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly and talk about physics and consciousness.
Yeah,
How do they fit into this cosmological picture, according to Tariq?
right. He starts with classical physics, Newtonian mechanics, electromagnetism. These give us a really solid, predictable, deterministic picture of our everyday world. How billiard balls collide, how planets orbit.
Very reliable for the macro level.
But it has limits, right?
Big limits, especially when you get down to the very, very small. And that's where quantum physics just completely rewrote the rule book.
How so? Quantum physics showed that particles don't behave like tiny billiard balls at all. They have wave-particle duality. They can exist in multiple states at once, superposition. They can be instantly connected across vast distances, entanglement. It defies classical logic.
And the really weird part, the observer effect.
Yeah, that's probably the most mind-bending aspect for many. The idea that the very act of measuring or observing a quantum system seems to influence its outcome. It collapses possibilities into a definite state.
Which introduces this idea of a possibility space. Multiple realities coexisting until observed.
Exactly, and Tariq emphasizes the profound philosophical implications here. It hints that reality might not be fixed and objective, but may be participatory and fluid, with consciousness playing some kind of role.
Okay, so that's physics. What about the inner world? The subconscious?
He sees the subconscious mind as incredibly important, not just for personal psychology, but cosmologically. It's the fertile ground for creativity, intuition, and the genesis of ideas.
He mentions Jung again here, the collective unconscious.
Right. As this shared, deeper layer of the psyche, a collective repository of symbols and motifs that influences all of us, whether we realize it or not.
And from a cosmological perspective.
Tariq suggests the subconscious is where potential realities are born before manifesting in the outer world. It's the incubator for what might become physically real.
So there's a feedback loop between the inner and outer.
He proposes exactly that, a dynamic feedback loop. Physical reality shapes our consciousness, obviously, but then our consciousness, especially the subconscious layers, shapes how we interpret and experience physical reality, maybe even influencing what manifests. It challenges that strict separation between mind and matter.
And he even briefly touches on string theory.
Yeah, as this incredibly ambitious attempt in physics to unify everything, proposing these tiny, vibrating strings as the fundamental constituents of reality.
And its relevance here.
He notes its implication of extra dimensions beyond our familiar four, and how this idea of hidden dimensions and interconnectedness resonates with ancient mystical insights. It's a place where cutting-edge physics seems to bump up against age-old philosophy and spirituality, where physics meets philosophy, as he puts it.
This leads nicely into another key distinction he makes. The difference between the outer world and the inner world.
Right. Two fundamental arenas of experience.
Let's define them. The outer world is...
That's the tangible realm, the world of action, of execution, where thoughts become actions, where energy takes form. It's governed by physical laws, social structures. It's where you build the house, write the code, have the conversation, where vision becomes concrete reality.
Okay, and the inner world?
The inner world. That's the realm of thoughts, emotions, dreams, imagination, intuition, subconscious activity. It's the fertile ground, the seedbed where ideas germinate before they take outer shape. It's fluid, symbolic, often nonlinear. It operates outside the usual constraints of space and time.
The architect's blueprint before the building exists.
A great analogy. It's the source code, the potential.
And the crucial thing is the connection, the translation between them.
Absolutely. He argues that bringing subconscious content insights from dreams, symbols, gut feelings into conscious awareness is key. Practices like journaling, therapy, meditation help build this bridge
Why is that bridge important?
because it allows for intentional shaping of reality. It moves us from being driven by unconscious patterns to consciously participating in creation. It's the bridge between potential and actualized realities. You bring the blueprint into the workshop.
And he points out this inner-outer dynamic isn't unique to his framework, right? It appears across cultures.
Definitely. He mentions Buddhism's focus on inner perception, mindfulness versus outer phenomena. The Hermetic principle, as above, so below, suggesting a correspondence between the microcosm us and the macrocosm universe.
And Sufism.
Sufism talks about the Zohir, the outer, apparent, and the Batin, the inner, hidden. It's a recurring theme in wisdom traditions because it reflects a fundamental aspect of human experience. We live in both worlds simultaneously.
Okay, this is all fascinating, theoretically. But how does it translate into practical application? What does this mean for you, the listener, day to day?
Well, the first major implication is personal empowerment. It's about recognizing your own agency, your ability to influence and, to some extent, reconstruct your perceived reality. By understanding how your thoughts, intentions, and beliefs interact with your subconscious and maybe even those subtle energetic dimensions we talked about, you gain the ability to consciously alter behaviors, emotional responses, maybe even shift circumstances over time.
So tools like visualization, affirmations, meditation, they become more than just relaxation techniques.
Potentially, yes. They become tools for reality design. It's a shift from just reacting to life to proactively co-creating it. The idea is that every thought, every intention contributes, consciously or not, to the reality you experience, and maybe even to the collective reality.
And what about on a bigger scale? Society.
Tariq argues that shared cosmologies, the collective maps of reality we hold, profoundly influence cultural cohesion, governance, everything.
Oh, so.
If a society adopts a more inclusive, holistic cosmology, one that values interconnectedness, say, he suggests it could diminish conflict, orient us towards common goals like justice, sustainability. It changes the shared why.
Could it inspire new solutions to global problems?
That's the hope. By changing the underlying framework, you open up new possibilities for action. And this connects to healing, too.
Beyond just physical medicine.
Yeah. It suggests healing needs to address energetic and psychological dimensions, too. Recognizing that imbalances and subtle energy fields, chakras, meridians, whatever model you use, might manifest as physical or emotional issues.
So practices like Reiki, acupuncture, Qigong, they fit into this picture.
They do, as ways to restore harmony on those subtle levels. And beyond specific techniques, simply connecting with a sense of cosmic energy or belonging can have profound psychological and spiritual healing effects.
And finally, education. How would education change based on this?
It would be radically different. Imagine education that integrates science, philosophy, arts, spirituality, not keeping them in separate boxes. It would aim to nurture critical thinking alongside intuition and creativity.
Developing the whole person.
Exactly. And fostering metacognitive skills, the awareness of how your own perception shapes what you think you know. Plus, building ethical consciousness, preparing people not just for jobs, but to be conscious participants in creating a better reality.
It's a compelling vision. But realistically, any framework this ambitious is going to face pushback, right? Challenges, criticisms.
Oh, absolutely. And Tariq acknowledges them directly, which is important.
What's the main one?
Scientific skepticism, particularly from a strict materialist viewpoint, questioning claims that go beyond what's currently measurable or empirically verifiable, labeling some of these concepts as pseudoscience.
How does Tariq frame that critique?
He actually calls it a vital corrective. He acknowledges the importance of rigor, evidence, and critical thinking, suggesting skepticism helps keep things grounded.
Okay, what are the challenges?
There's the risk of relativism. If all perspectives, all cosmologies have some validity, does that mean anything goes? Could it lead to confusion, fragmentation, and even social discord, undermining any shared standards of truth or ethics?
That's a valid concern. How does he address it?
He stresses the need for what he calls meta-criteria. Overarching principles like coherence, ethical alignment, maybe practical workability to help evaluate and integrate different perspectives responsibly. It's not just accepting everything uncritically.
And there are ethical considerations too, right?
Yeah.
About who gets to define these cosmologies.
A huge one. He asks point blank, who has the authority to define or endorse particular cosmological frameworks? History shows cosmologies have often been used to justify social control, hierarchies, oppression.
So the takeaway is,
The need for transparency, inclusivity, respect for human rights. Any attempt to build a new cosmology has to be incredibly mindful of these ethical pitfalls. It needs to empower, not control.
okay, so as we bring this deep dive towards a close, what's the ultimate potential here? What's the big picture vision Tariq Abdullah is offering?
I think the core potential is about building bridges, creating a more unified human cosmology that connects domains we've historically kept separate. Science dealing with the objective, spirituality with the subjective, and culture with our shared stories and values.
A more holistic understanding of ourselves and the universe?
Exactly. The vision is for a future civilization that doesn't demand everyone think the same, but instead honors multiple truths and embraces pluralism as a strength.
And the benefit of that.
Deeper dialogue, more genuine cooperation. Maybe a better shot at achieving ecological balance, social justice, and a more holistic sense of well-being for everyone. It's about finding unity in diversity, essentially.
But it's not like we'll arrive at some final, perfect cosmology.
No, he emphasizes this is dynamic. It's an ongoing exploration, not a fixed destination. It requires humility, recognizing that any models we have now are provisional, incomplete, and subject to revision. We have to keep learning, keep evolving our understanding.
So this whole exploration, it's quite a challenge, but also an invitation.
That's exactly how he positions it, a profound challenge and an inspiring invitation, because if his core idea holds true that perception shapes reality, that consciousness co-creates.
And it leaves you listening with a pretty powerful final thought, doesn't it?
It really does. If our understanding of reality is always evolving, and if your consciousness, individually and collectively, genuinely plays a role in shaping what's real, then the question becomes, what new universe, what new reality might you begin to consciously choose, design, and participate in starting today?